European leaders are scrambling save a plan to launch European Union accession talks for Ukraine, with Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán vowing block the decision at next week's summit of EU leaders. French President Emmanuel Macron will host Orbán for dinner in Paris on Thursday. European Council President Charles Michel was in Budapest last week to seek a way out of the impasse. Orbán, widely seen as the EU's most pro-Russian leader, has repeatedly said he would not support Ukraine's path to accession at this point. He sent a letter to Michel on Monday, demanding that issue be removed from the agenda of leaders' meeting to be held next Thursday and Friday. If issue remains on table, apparent lack of consensus will inevitably lead to failure, Orbán wrote in his letter, a copy of which was seen by Guardian. Many in Brussels believe Orbán is repeating the favored hardball tactic of extracting gains from EU partners and finally falling in line. However, political and diplomatic sources in Budapest said they did not believe the Hungarian leader would give up this time. I don't see an immediate step back after sending the letter saying we should discuss the issue at all, said Agustin Meraz, director of Nézőpont, a think tank close to Orbán's Fidesz party. You can never say never in politics. But as far as I can see, there is no chance. The European Commission recommended opening formal EU membership talks with Ukraine and Moldova in November, which Commission President Ursula von der Leyen described as a response to the call of history. The decision recommend proceeding with Ukraine's candidacy was a rare bright spot for Kiev at a time when the battlefield situation looks increasingly dire and the Biden administration's ability to continue sending funds Ukraine looks increasingly shaky. If an agreement is reached, this move will be only the first step of a long journey. Michel talked about Ukraine being admitted to EU by end of decade. Although process often takes longer, Orbán has long been at odds with Brussels over a range issues, including democratic backsliding and the erosion judicial independence in Hungary, which has led to the freezing tens billions euros in funding to Budapest. There are signs that some of this money may start flowing soon, which could help Orbán win reluctant approval for a major EU financial aid package for Ukraine. This is something that Orbán also opposes. But funds alone are unlikely to mobilize on participation, sources said. Orbán has said for years that Hungary's main problem with Ukraine is that it wants Kiev to provide more rights to the Hungarian minority community. Ukraine's parliament will consider a bill on Friday that addresses many of Budapest's concerns. But Orbán has now moved the goalposts by criticizing Ukraine more generally. Dmytro Tujansky, director of the Institute for Central European Strategy in Uzhhorod, Ukraine, said, Orbán and his team have been using minority rights as an excuse